Ready? Okay, very good. Good evening, everybody. Welcome Lunenburg. My name is Brett Ramsden. I'm the Vice Chair of the Lunenburg Sewer Commission. We're starting a couple minutes late. I'm going to ask everybody to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. There's a flag out front.
There must be one.
Yes, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting of the Sewer Commission is being recorded and will be able to be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel after the meeting. The following information is also provided for members of the public that would like to participate in the meeting remotely. To participate remotely from a computer, please use the link to join the public meeting webinar found on the posted agenda, or from a telephone, dial the toll-free number 888-475-4499 and enter the webinar ID number 792-737-0353. If you have not registered with Zoom, you will be asked for your name and email address. Note, no participant ID is needed, just press pound when asked. I will do a roll call vote, all members, as well as members of our team. I'm going to start with the commissioner members. Joseph Hurley.
Joe, you there?
Here,
We got you.
I'm here, thanks.
Joining us remotely. And then Scott Dahl.
Here.
And I myself am present, so we do have a quorum. And then our staff. And I'll start with Bill Bernard.
I'm here.
Andrew Valerie.
Here,
I got it right this time, right?
Valier.
Valier. Yeah, work in progress,
Yep.
and Shane Ranley is away at the moment. I would like to ask if there are any public comments from the public. Do we have any public joining us?
There is no public online.
Okay. Are there any comments from commissioners or staff?
I do not.
Okay. Well, we're excited to be moving forward with this meeting. This is actually forwarded from last week. And, but we were able to make it work for the quorum. And we're gonna start with, current business, and that's gonna be conversation about Zoom and remote open meeting law legislation, and if there's been any changes. I'm gonna ask Andrew if he knows of anything.
Yes, that has been extended until I think June of 2027, so we can have our meetings once in office and then second half remotely still, so.
Yeah.
Second half remotely,
So hybrid still an
Hybrid,
option.
yeah.
Yep.
so keeping it like we are.
Yep.
Yep, it was extended until June 30th, 2027.
2027.
Yeah.
Yep. So we had 2 years.
Okay, it is kind of nice swapping back and forth.
It
Yeah.
is.
Very good. Well, it's nice to have some serious answers on that one.
Yeah.
And then I can't imagine there's any discussion about that one. I'm all happy about it. And then regarding the commission vacancies, are there any updates on that, Bill?
As far as I know, nobody has formally stepped up, but I know one guy was kind of thinking about it, so. Well, that's
Alder Chair, thank you. And have we, I know everyone's been busy, but we were talking about maybe getting a copy of the original letter that went out.
Yeah, so I was gonna talk to the town manager about that. Maybe she could send one out for all the open positions, all the different committees, so we won't have to bear the brunt of all the postage, right?
We're, I mean, we can take from other funds, but we're limited for postage, so.
I think it's a grand idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How do we motivate her to move quickly on that though. I guess that's
Well,
for discussion.
I'm meeting with her tomorrow, so I will bring it up.
Okay, that'd be great.
Mhm.
I'm only asking because we might not be meeting much longer. So, also regarding that, we've been wondering about Joe's ability to keep on.
Yeah.
Now, wouldn't he have to be voted in to be able to stay on after? What's the deadline? June is when the changeover is, end of June?
Yeah, I believe that's what it is. I'm not 100% sure, but, we could probably just have him appointed again.
Oh,
You know,
okay, right.
We would go to.
But I believe he was appointed to, like, the 2-year commission he was replacing, and I was in the 1 year, so he might be all right for another
Well,
year, cause his
well,
appointment, I believe, was.
That's a good question.
It's on the web,
Yeah.
it's on the website, it's got our,
Huh?
length under the sewer commission, I couldn't even
Hmm.
tell you.
Hmm.
That's how I saw it.
Yeah, I guess I kind of assumed that once an election was available, you'd have to reinforce the appointment through an
That's
election,
kind of what I
but.
thought,
yeah.
but.
But I don't know, then why would they give a 2-year appointment?
It's a good question, Tim.
Yes.
I will find out.
As far as the leave date, I mean, my best guess is like toward the end of July.
Mhm.
Again, being in there in Maryland in September when my son starts kindergarten's our goal, so.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure I'm not gonna nail it to the week or anything like that, so, you know, hopefully still be here in July, so.
Well, we're glad to have you as long as you're willing and able.
Glad I can help.
And we'll see what happens after that, theoretically. You know, we have other things to investigate regarding that, so.
Yeah.
As we know, moving right along, Mr. DPW Director. Looking for some updates, let's see, any word on the manhole repair item?
Yeah, so we held a pre-construction meeting with the contractor. It's In Situ Form Technologies. That was on April 2nd. So when the projects managers came in, we sat here, I had an agenda for them. We, talked about scheduling and materials and how we're gonna do it, so. We haven't heard back from him yet on schedule or anything, but we definitely got the ball rolling on it.
It seems.
Yeah.
That's a great start. And then, let's see, we've got a waiver of interest for 50 Mass Ave. That we need to vote on.
That's the reboot, right?
It is.
Yeah.
So what do we? I was trying to waiver of interest, was it literally interest fees? Is that? what
It
we're
was,
talking
it was an amount at the time, a week ago, given of $35, I'm sure it's a little bit more than that, given the $5,626 amount. So like I said, we can only, or they can only waive a certain, number, I think it's $15, so because it's over $15 now in interest, we have,
Who's waiving?
oh,
Who's requesting?
There was, if the property was sold.
Yeah.
They asked for a final read,
Okay,
so we gave them the final read.
Mhm.
We should have put the date out further
a
on
little
it.
further up, but.
well, I
And
mean,
so the check didn't come in until,
Right.
after
Yeah,
our
after
date,
the
so.
fact,
I think
yeah.
we're
Interest kept
okay
accumulating and they owed so
collecting
much.
$5,000 over, $30, I certainly wouldn't say, that's
Yeah.
good, great, I didn't know it was sold, so that's great.
Yeah,
A lot of commissions and entities in town have been running under a lot of changes lately and obviously hurdles and that our hands full, so something little like this and it fell under the radar and it wasn't a big deal.
yeah, so we talked with
Yeah.
Mylene, the treasurer,
Yeah.
about how to handle these in the future.
Okay.
And we'll put the date out 30 days.
30 days.
Right, so it gives us
Yeah,
some
it gives
time.
us time and
right?
accrued interest,
Yeah.
ahead of time.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
So it shouldn't happen again.
it shouldn't.
No guarantees, but, and this was they owed such a big amount. So
Yeah,
it
they
added up
did.
quick.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's somebody owes like $100, so if they're a few days late, it's only
Right, it's only
pennies.
pennies on the
So
dot
they
now.
can,
And you can just write it off.
Right, we can
write
just-
it off,
the treasurer's office can write off anything up to $15,
Yeah.
but above that, the commissioner has to
Has to
vote
approve
on
for
it.
that.
So we don't have to vote on this one.
You do,
You-
No, we
you
do.
do, so it's over $50.
Right.
Yeah.
Alright, so how exactly do we want to word the vote?
If you want, I should have, had that printed up. This is, what we're voting on.
Look at this guy. All right, I move that the commission waive all interest on the final invoice for the following account. Excuse me. 101-215, bill number 65067. And accept final payment in the amount of $5,626.43. And, that is the vote. Do I have a
Motion to,
motion to accept that?
yeah, to accept.
I'll second the motion.
That would be great. And all in favor, Joe
Aye.
and Scott,
Aye,
and I for my son. Thank you, Andrew.
Absolutely.
did any, local restaurant group buy it, or was that,
That's the hot rumor.
yeah, no, that's good.
All right,
Well, that puts that other guy fully in Fitchburg's hands now, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
well, that's good, we got ours back, and hopefully they close before the end of the fiscal. It'll look great on your end of year.
very good. So are we moving forward from the vote? We're looking at.
Yep, we're on another one as well. If you wanna discuss this.
So
one,
that,
Bill.
that spreadsheet,
So
that
this,
extra bill?
There we go.
I think, Fred, you have multiple copies, so maybe, oh, Joe,
Okay,
yeah.
Joe has,
okay.
okay. There may be something under here.
I don't know, is there another one in yours?
Yeah,
Oh,
This
yeah.
one I just printed at work.
all right, so. This is to ask the sewer commission if they'll pay for my time when we were without a sewer business manager. So when Paula left up to when Andrew started. So I spent a significant amount of time doing the job.
Of course.
So this is basically to reimburse the town for me working under the sewer enterprise. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I figured, normally the sewer enterprise pays for 15% of my time throughout the year.
Mhm.
But during that time, what did I say? How much time?
50%.
Yeah, 50%,
Mhm.
which some days was accurate, some days was probably low. So, but it's probably a fair assessment.
Mhm.
So, you do all the math and it turns out the difference is $14,255.64. So the vote tonight would be for the commission to approve. Giving that money back to the town.
Funds out of the sewer
Reimburse
budget,
the town.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, just make you have a discussion on that. I, for one, wouldn't be shocked at all that it took up 50% of your time. Andrew certainly wouldn't be shocked.
No,
And, and having been on the commission for a while and seen what, Barbara and Paula put in for hours and you were still running the town, so.
Mhm.
Appreciate you carrying the torch
you're welcome.
as well as you did for that
Mhm.
time, and again, we want to appreciate
Yeah.
Andrew for being here
glad to be here.
and taking over in such a fine way. Does anybody have any questions about this?
No, I would just make the statement, looking at the notes, that, and we know why, but just so it's fully disclosed, that it was with the former business manager leaving her
Right.
absence at the end of August, that
Mhm.
this, before we found Andrew, there were 4 months in limbo of
Right.
work that still had to continue, and billing and every issue, and, I didn't hear any complaints from anyone in the town about how things functioned during that time, DPW or otherwise, so I have no problem with this. gonna even probably guess that it's lowballed the hours you spent, on this, but in the end, yeah, perfectly fine, you did that, should offset salary anyways, for that time period, and, you might as well give it back to the town and let them add that back into their
I agree.
budget for the next fiscal.
Yeah, and just to know, we ran this by the town accountant
Yeah.
and the town manager, and they were okay with the dollar total.
Okay,
Excellent. Joe, any input?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it sounds reasonable as well. I think I just wanna know how it impacts our budget that we had previously squared away, and if we need to revisit that now, if that's a thing.
Yeah, so we have money left in the budget for this
For this,
fiscal
yeah.
year.
Yeah,
There's still a lot of money sitting in the capital improvement account, so
Okay.
we can just switch it over.
okay,
but we also had the salary saved off of Paula,
Right.
even with
Right.
her
Mhm.
Exactly.
part-time justification, so that should have been in the previous year's
Right.
budget, so.
Yeah, so I should.
I'm assuming you have more than 14 grand budgeted for
Yeah.
Paula for 4 months, so it shouldn't,
yeah.
it shouldn't really have an
Right,
adverse
should be a
effect.
wash.
So we just need to read
just
the
moving.
line items and vote in a meeting in the future, and then,
No,
Not
for, to adjust the line items, we could just do that.
okay,
Yeah.
The vote would just be to accept this proposal, you know.
okay.
So I'm looking for a motion to accept this proposal to pay the town back for, as much time as Bill had to spend extra, or a lot of it. Cover a good part of it anyway, in good faith to the town. Can I get a motion for that?
A motion to, I guess, reimburse the $14,255.64.
Yeah, I'll second the motion to reimburse it from
All right.
the sewer to the town.
Motion is made and seconded. I'm gonna go for roll call vote. Scott,
Aye,
Joe?
Aye.
And I for myself. Thank you, gentlemen. And, thank you again for those crazy months you had there. So,
It was tough, but I got through it.
yeah, it's nice to be moving on from there. And next on our list, we have, online Unipay partial payment option that we, Scott actually brought up as an idea, and we all agreed it was, something certainly worth looking into.
Mhm.
And so this can be a general discussion, and, but I did want to bring Andrew into
Yep.
this.
So yep, that option's there. I spoke with Mylene. She said, I think we've done it prior, but you know, if it gives, like I said, the customer a chance to pay a bill, even if it's not a full bill, they can pay any amount that they want to online. Why not? That shouldn't really indirectly impact us. It's gonna, you know, it goes off their old, the bill that they owe oldest anyways, so.
yeah,
Let's say if they make a partial payment, you know, it just goes off their.
yeah, and I was only
Yeah.
stating, cause the current system, once a new bill hits,
Right,
it's not delinquent or in arrears, but it still shows as a total due, and the only option is
correct,
to pay
right,
total.
and
due.
that's the only, yeah,
So even if they were a day late, there's no,
yeah.
you know,
quick- yeah,
leniency, even though they're not technically late on the new bill.
Correct, yeah, yeah,
So this just encourages them
Yeah.
to, even if they just pay their past due,
Yep.
the past quarter, at least they're current for 30 days,
right,
so.
yep, yeah,
It just seems like, you know, especially in a time where we're having some collection
right,
issues
and
and.
it helps the customer and helps,
I was gonna say, it doesn't only help the customer, which it
Yeah.
certainly gives some leeway.
I mean,
But it will
Some-
get, I think it will get a
Helps us,
percentage down
yes,
quickly.
yeah, it helps, yeah,
Especially after they log in the next time they pay
right,
whatever bill, you know, the next statement period or whatever. Then they'll see the thing, it's not something you can easily
right,
advertise.
right,
Yeah.
right, yeah,
But, I mean, look, financially, it should work, it's just
Right.
it's an extra payment option.
Correct, yeah.
You know, the only time will tell, and
Mm.
if it's not costing us any money and it's already, something that's available, I don't see any
yeah,
harm in
it's like a
turning it
flip of
on.
the switch finally, and stuff.
Yeah, exactly, it's just a toggle, they
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
have a
yeah.
few options,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, and I think it'll be great.
Again, I agree, and certainly helps our customers, but also I think we're going to likely see less.
less of a, overdue.
Chasing, I guess you could.
Chasing of,
Hopefully.
yeah,
Yeah.
make that, have our percentage come down a little
Letters
bit.
and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, well, and I know the water department's
Yeah.
payment portal has, you can pay other amount. I
Yes.
think it might be current or past due. I know they're on a different portal,
Yeah,
but
but
I'm
it's
just
there.
saying, yeah,
Yeah, there's
it is an
yeah.
option, so it's not like this is some
I think it's great.
reinventing the wheel.
Yep, no,
And let me ask you this, Andrew. Now, does it create extra work for you or is it?
I
more like
don't
just-
see how that it's gonna create any extra work, it's just,
Good.
it's gonna be a balance on their account, so whatever's owed, it's still gonna reflect on a bill. The interest isn't gonna go away, so,
But it'll roll down on a
it
less
will,
amount.
yeah, and
so
it will
at
roll
least
down
it
a
won't
less
be-
amount because, yeah, we're, they're
And in
paying
the
some of
end,
that bill.
honestly, now, if, whatever, say their bill is $300,
Yeah.
just a number, and they pay their previous quarter.
Yeah.
Now they're technically current,
Yeah.
that's one less letter
One
you're
less,
mailing.
yeah, one less.
One less
right,
demand
yeah, one
letter,
less
so.
Demand letter, yeah,
Yeah, I
for that
mean,
quarter, yeah.
and I don't think the interest doesn't start until after the
It doesn't,
right?
yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't start until, the day, we actually do the day
Day
after.
31.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Okay,
So is this something that's set up, we're ready to vote on?
We're ready to vote on it, we just have to have, all the votes ready to go.
yeah,
So,
Sorry, say that again.
all the
Yeah.
votes are ready to go, so, yeah,
Oh,
and
okay.
we can get that,
So we just need
going.
a motion and a vote.
Yeah.
I'll motion to enable the partial payment option on our Unipay platform for the water customers, sewer customers, sorry.
I'll second the motion.
Motion has been made and second. Any further discussion? We'll do vote. We'll do Joe
Aye.
and Scott
Aye,
and I for myself. And that was good thinking. All right, we have, do we have any more news on a possible assistant to our business manager?
We are in the process of hiring a new assistant.
Really?
So it's at HR, I thought I'd hear from her by now with a date, so
Yeah.
we're that close.
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
Well, how about that?
how many hours was that position? I forget.
19.
Is that the one? Yeah, I was gonna say 17, but yeah, okay, that's great, it's great you get somebody, especially that hour range too.
Yeah. Yeah, and she has some experience working for a town.
Yeah, working.
She has used Munis before, so,
Oh,
Really?
yeah, so she won't be totally shocked.
So she's coming for your job.
oh, boy.
No, she just wants the part-time.
Bringing in a ringer?
So. Hopefully by the next meeting, she'll be here.
That's next week, I think.
Well, maybe not next week, but.
Yeah.
Yeah,
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Very good. Well, that's excellent news, everyone.
yeah,
And we're already at the point where we need to discuss what we want for future agenda items. Our meetings, very smooth these days. Just throwing that out there.
future, I don't know, I guess we'll just keep the new member thing on there. You know, trying to figure out a reach out, maybe we might get more, interest
Right.
coming up with the town election and everything, so.
Yeah.
People, and now the weather's nicer, people will be
Mhm.
out more and
And
I'll start seeing them welding up manholes. Everyone will be like, hey, what's going on?
especially now the street is lowered
Is it sinking?
around them.
We were talking about last meeting about what the goal of the sewer commission or the sewer system in the town is in a. in a
Yeah,
macro
oh yeah,
level,
you're right,
like,
you're right.
is it the goal to expand to more of the town? Is it to, and, as more and more of these
Yeah, what was-
easements and addition requests come on, like what is our mission statement? And what are we aiming to do so we can
Is
use
there a
that as a
mission
guiding
statement?
principle in those
Well, that's what
decisions?
that's what he had brought up last time,
Yeah,
do we
should be.
have a mission statement or goal? Are we just here to service existing? Are we supposed to be expanding?
Yeah, so we have a comprehensive wastewater management plan.
Yeah,
I don't know, did I email it to you guys? Maybe I didn't.
I don't believe so.
I will do that.
You said wastewater management?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
sewer.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we do have a plan. It's written, it's over there on the shelf somewhere.
yeah.
We should maybe review it over
Peruse
the
it.
meeting. or-
Yeah.
or maybe we
Yeah,
gotta-
just the
small-
area and stuff, was
Get a
that
copy of
area
it, maybe, for the
strategic
next-
for the? For elevations, or was it just that's how big the town was at the time, you know, what's the,
Yeah, so the Seward area is kind of the middle of the town. The
Yeah.
future Seward areas are around the lakes,
Mhm.
right?
okay.
Okay,
In future meeting, we'd like to expand there, but we don't have the infrastructure down those roads yet, kind of thing,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
and.
but I think the one thing we brought up was, we were like, okay, the initial plan, when you guys had it drawn up, was initially just around the lakes, and now we have other sites outside of that area being developed that wanna join the system, so we didn't wanna, you know,
Mhm.
either shortchange the lake area, you know, and tax the system if they eventually need to come on to it, because now we put, you know, another Whalen Park on, so, you know, but, so I think it was just trying to make sure that we're making the best educated decision.
Well, we've, in my experience, we've been running, when it comes to expansion,
Mhm.
generally, anybody that's on a line has the option of coming up, and they're always welcome. When it comes to adding like whole streets and going further,
Mhm.
which has happened and the opportunity's been on the table a few times,
Mhm.
since I've been on the commission. And it always boiled down to the fact that whoever wanted that line down,
Yeah.
further down any particular street. Not only do we look at the situation and benefits, pros and cons.
Yeah.
For the system, for the town, but we also require that person that's pushing to do it to install it down the street. Say it's a builder or what have you, but we always make sure that they have hookups for any other houses along the way.
Yeah.
Whether or not they hook up, it gives them the option. So we don't want lines usually going in that can't be connected to later by houses that passes, that would be sort of,
Yeah.
self-defeating.
It might make sense for a developer with 20 lots, but it's probably unlikely a single homeowner is gonna
Mhm.
extend the sewer system for us and add hookups for other houses in the future, so it's probably,
It happens.
It does it?
But it's usually only like one house,
yeah, one house down. yeah.
right? And those have to be, for you guys to approve it, it has to be within the Seward area already.
Yeah, already.
So I know a couple meetings ago, I brought up, there was a developer.
Yeah, I
that
was just gonna
wanted
bring
Yeah.
that up.
To go onto a piece of property that's outside of the sewer service area.
Except for like the
Only
first
way for that to
10%
happen,
or something, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Hmm.
the only way for that to happen is a vote at town meeting,
Mhm.
right?
Okay,
That's interesting.
So that's where it gets interesting sometimes is,
Well, then, and I think that's one thing we were saying was, all right, do we need to look at the wording of how that is, because only part of their property is on the line,
Right.
so you're thinking that even that part that's buildable to join the line, you're probably thinking 1-2 properties, not
Right,
300 people.
right, so I checked with town council on it,
Yeah.
and, it's in our regs. It
It is.
specifically says if the property's bisected, that the piece that's outside of the sewer service area can't
Oh,
yeah, it
connect
can't.
without a vote of the
Yes.
town meeting.
so the whole
That's
property is available.
Not available, not
And then you-
available.
And then
Yeah.
voted at town.
The
meeting,
other
I mean,
part
town
would be-
Council votes, or we voted at town?
Other
votes?
town-
Town meeting
votes.
votes,
Okay,
Mhm.
right, to expand the sewer service area to
Yeah.
include that
Sure.
area.
okay,
So if this developer wants to do that, he'll have to get a warrant article in the next town meeting.
And then he's gonna have to be
so unless a hundred,
footing the bill.
unless 100% of the parts.
I can't see any.
Yeah, right here, no property or portion of a property located outside of the service zones shall be allowed to extend or construct a sanitary sewer. A lot bisected by a sewer service zone boundary line shall only install a sewer connection that serves buildings that are located within the sewer service zone lines.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep, so that's right in our regs.
Yeah. There you have it.
Is our plan that, this is just me talking, is the sewer plan, was that based on, where the lakes region, like you said, was it maybe to protect some of the sensitive areas that are near wells?
Exactly, right.
In case they have started having,
Right, so when people-
septic problems.
Right,
Hmm.
when they fail, it could potentially contaminate the lake, so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I figured,
Right,
probably.
so
it
I
had
think we
to
all
be-
need to dig into that comprehensive
Yeah.
plan a little bit to get a better understanding.
Just to be on the same page, or understand, what the town and the public expects.
Right,
Yeah, it would seem foolish to like overwhelm the system on some of the thing that wasn't even part of the original plan, but. Like you said, we're not near that, but
I have a question. Our service people. We've always had a lot of problems with the pumps. And we sent out that mailing. That was kind of like, hey, please don't put this, and this.
Yeah.
Down the toilet. I haven't heard about a lot of pump problems recently that I've
Yeah.
heard.
Yeah.
so the mailing worked,
Yeah.
There were-
It did, yeah.
Oh, it worked.
and people
Yeah.
start putting stuff down the toilets. We
Wow.
get an occasional clog, but before it was every
Mhm.
week. Now it's maybe
Very,
once every 2
very,
months.
so we're not talking about the new pumps. I'm assuming the new pumps could probably handle a bit more than the old pumps, but you're talking about the old pumps that are still existing,
Yeah, right.
they haven't
Old
been
and-
clogging
yeah.
at the
Right,
rate.
so the Lemonster Road was getting clogged every week,
Wow,
right? And now it's maybe every 2 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah,
It just
Yeah.
occurred to me, I'm like,
right, so we did a mailing, we mentioned it at town meeting, right?
I know you
So-
mentioned it here once, as your public comment.
Right,
I wonder if this is something we should do annually or.
it's probably a good idea.
Yeah, I would think.
It should probably be a note on the
Even-
website, under the sewer commission.
And it can just go into
I mean,
billing statements, like.
it's
we don't
their
have to-
statement.
Yeah,
Right.
with like on,
Right.
yeah, with the
Yeah,
bills,
we can
yeah.
add it
On
in.
your Unipay, on your statements, there's probably an option.
Or, yeah, even
To-
on
to send
our
a
billing
note.
statements.
E-
we can,
exactly,
Put a
you
note
can-
in there as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's,
Yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't have to be a separate mailing,
Yeah.
but,
right, right. We
Couple
did, we just
asterisks
did a little
and say,
piece of
"Hey,
paper,
it's all you
you
have to
know,
do."
just a reminder.
And then if you get the assistant, you can have her highlight it
Yep,
before you
yep.
stuff the envelope.
Yeah,
Maybe we could even put a little blurb somewhere saying it's working.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
Yeah,
thank
then
you.
they can,
because you, our customers, listened,
Mhm.
you're actually keeping the costs under control by
Yeah.
not hurting the
Yeah.
pumps.
Yeah,
Because we can say, hey, they can think, okay, look, it's actually
Mhm.
worth being careful.
sure.
How about that? Okay. Excellent, gentlemen. So what do we need? We don't need the Zoom remote on there for next week.
Nope.
And vacancies, we'll just leave on there every time until we don't have somebody. And let's see, regarding the managers, business manager and director updates, we'll probably keep the manholes on there, gentlemen, maybe
Yeah.
and of course, anything else that comes up from our customers, we've taken care of the meeting day. And maybe we can get an update on the assistant manager. But we've checked off several things that don't need to come back on this list. How about
Yeah.
that?
That's good.
Yes.
yeah,
Excellent, gentlemen. Is there any old business we need to talk about? Or we kind of covered all that.
Yeah, I think we just
Yeah.
touched on
Yeah.
it, right?
yeah.
And there's still no public for comment?
That's correct.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything they want to add or any?
I only wanted to ask Bill, because I don't know if I might have spaced it and missed it, but looking for the leaks, I know you met with them, did they give you a prospective start date?
They have not,
No.
no.
But we're on their project list for
Yeah.
this summer, well.
Yes.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I remember that was, we were like, hey, let's
Yeah, we,
get in front of it to make sure we're on their,
right, so
agenda.
part of the pre-construction meeting was, we noted the completion date, and he said, yeah, we'll definitely be done by then, so,
Okay, great.
yeah.
Excellent.
Well,
So our upcoming scheduled sewer commission meetings, starts with our next meeting on the 29th, I guess. Is that next week?
No, that is, the week after, so the last
Oh.
Tuesday of this.
So we
Okay.
just reset to every other week from the most recent meeting, or
We'll
no?
take that week.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. And that's going to be a Zoom meeting only. And then we'll be having the meeting afterward. The next meeting will be May 13th. That'll be a 7 PM regular hybrid meeting such as this.
mhm.
The meeting after that will be a May 27th meeting at 6 PM. And that will be a Zoom meeting. And then in June 10th, we'll have another regular hybrid 7 o'clock meeting here. And that is our current schedule. If there's nothing further, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting. Do you have anything to add?
I do not,
Motion to adjourn the meeting then.
I will second the motion.
We have a motion, it's been second, and gonna do a roll call vote. Joe,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
and I for myself. And we are officially closing the meeting. Good night, Lindenberg. Thank you for your time.